Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Additions and deletions, do you have?
Yes, I have a couple additions. I have Eric to add to the agenda, Bradley, Megan, St. Pierre. And then, is it the Lions Club? Parade committee?
We're just here in case somebody has questions.
Okay. So just those two additions.
Well, we'll start with Mr. St. Pierre. Has a few questions about,
I guess the four maps, I don't know. who
Okay.
needs them.
potential sugaring expansion that'll connects with the town a little bit, has town implications.
Yep, so I'm Bradley Sandberg. For those that don't know me, me and my brother leased the Cleveland Blair property on South Richford Road and McAllister Road. What I'm specifically talking about is what I call the McAllister Road parcel. To explain the map a little bit, it's looking downhill. The top of the map would be 105. This red A on your left is the McAllister pump station or sap house at the extreme end of McAllister Road. And obviously the right is Stevens Mill Slide Road through the valley. This right here. So you're looking downhill towards 105 at the map.
Okay.
I would call it a gray, is allegedly your reservoir lot, and then this is the watershed lot. And this is just a Onyx Hunt, it's a hunting app, it's not gospel, it just kind of gives you a general idea of boundary lines, property owners. So don't think that I'm going just by this. Obviously, it can be inaccurate and stuff sometimes. But what I was proposing is we're adding on some taps, and so right now we have about 20,000 taps at the end of McAllister Road, and we haul them all down McAllister Road. We are ROing, which is removing water, but obviously we know that takes a toll on the road. What we've done in the past with the town of Berkshire in two different instances, they give us permission to either cross a town road or dig up a town road so we can pump our sap. We've had pretty good luck with that. We're pumping about 4 miles, multiple different situations right now with electronic pumps. So what I was proposing, speaking for me and my brother, is we want to get our sap to Brook Street or as close to Brook Street as possible to get it on 105. And obviously we need the town's approval or cooperation to do that. And so figured to start asking the questions. We're gonna add the taps no matter what. If we can't make it work, which would be unfortunate, but it's possible, we're gonna pump our sap uphill and take all of it down McAllister Road out. So but the goal is, if we can come to agreement, to get it all towards Brook Street. And kind of the second question I had is, right below the Richford Village watershed, we own a triangle of maple, it's about 65 acres. Right now it's not set up because we need grade. And I was wondering if we could gain permission to cross the watershed land to get it to flow down to the little bit of blue line in that red X right there.
So you're saying it's this area right here?
Right here, yeah.
Oh, this triangle here?
Yeah.
Okay.
See how it's a ravine and that's hardwood?
Yeah.
Because it's like a
Yeah.
topo.
Okay.
It shows leaf off imagery, so when there's no green, it's hardwoods, and when it's green, it's softwoods.
Okay.
Kind of is the way we do it.
Alright.
So, so permission to dig or bore in your right of way on Brook Street, and permission to cross the reservoir land. If we don't expect anything for free, I think that we should pay some money and it's worth something for us. Yearly rental agreement or something to give the town some income for the cooperation, I think is fair. And if, as we're running, just crossing your land to get grade for our sap, we didn't know if it'd be possible to rent some trees in your reservoir lot. Obviously, we know you need to keep the road open for the reservoir, obviously, so we would never cross your access. But just had a couple of those questions. All on, what do you call that, Wally, this lower lot? Is that the reservoir lot and this is the watershed lot?
The watershed is the town forest, right?
Your town forest is at the top of this South Richford slide.
Yeah, but it goes way out in there. If you see the map, Blair's is there. So way over in here, that That's the town, the watershed is the town forest, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I thought. So,
So that's a no, pretty fair to say that's a no-touch zone, and
I think there are some rules about what we can and can't do with it.
that's what I was telling him, I thought.
on the upper chunk.
Yeah.
On the town forest.
Yeah, but the section below, I didn't know if there were limitations down there where, you know, like on both sides of the reservoir down that section. I don't know. I didn't know, so I figured I'd have him come present and we could find out from there.
Yeah. So just to kind of wrap it up, the permission to cross the reservoir land is gonna allow us to tap 65 acres of Cleveland's land that we can't tap unless you give us permission to get grade. And then first thing I asked is getting permission to either bore or dig or a combination of both up Brook Street to help us get sap from, you know, down here by your reservoir out to 105 and onto a truck. Yeah. So our goal is to have as little trucks on the road as possible is what we're trying to get at. It's good for us and it's been good for the town. Danny Kennison's the head of our highway department, and he allowed us to cross Lost Nation Road, and he can attest to how much nicer Lost Nation Road stays now that we're not hauling all those loads out.
You're looking to bury a line on Brook Street? Why are you looking to bury the line so it doesn't freeze?
Doesn't freeze, and it's obviously we can't cross in front of people's driveways and stuff with an above ground line, so burying is really the only option to impact the people on Brook Street the least amount, you know. And Berkshire allowed us to dig up Harwood Hill by right by GW Tatros pit, and we shut the road down for about a day. We banged it out, put insulation in, used the material they asked us to do, and we pump there right now. So we don't haul sap from our Harwood Hill property anymore. It pumps to our farm.
Is that
That's
a
another
class 2 road or class 3 road?
What, Brook Street?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't know that.
I'm guessing it's probably.
Three.
Yeah.
The road actually ends at the bridge before you cross the stream, and then it's questionable as to whether it's a trail or a class 4.
Yeah. And where would you be looking to
So
load, I guess?
yeah, so there's
to place your tanks or whatever.
and it's a little bit hard for us too, because if we can't come to agreement and get permission from you guys, there's no sense of trying to make an agreement with one of those neighbors down there, or buy a parcel from one of the neighbors, or buy a parcel off where the fire was where Tom Ryan used to live. We need your permission first. Then we need to go figure out who can we make an agreement with down there to have a sap house, so on and so forth, and keep working it back from there.
Yeah, makes sense.
So all the sap's gonna flow to the X, and from that X, we're gonna pump to the final destination, a RO building, where the sap truck's gonna haul concentrated sap out of it.
Okay.
And that's our goal, to get it down on the bottom of the hill, and eventually we would even like to pump South Richford Road, the main Blair Sugar House, over to here, so all the sap is going down to 105. But we gotta start it from the bottom of the hill, and so a lot of people to come to agreements and make it all work. That is our goal.
Okay. Well, guess we can discuss it
Yeah.
later.
And any questions and concerns, reach out.
We'll reach out.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
I'll leave it back.
Thanks.
See ya. I'm sorry. I'll just step right here. Right here. Perfect. See ya.
Now you get up.
All right. Eric?
Okay, if anyone doesn't know, this is Melissa Derby. She has called me on a few occasions, and we've talked about it. She is interested in being appointed as a lister. I've sort of vetted her and what it is we do and what would be expected, and the number of hours, and being on the board of listers is a little bit different than being an individual employee in that we function as a board, so we would be working the same hours, at least bulk, and I'd probably be working a little more there afterwards to catch up, but it's quite a bit of training involved, but it's not a hard learning process, so So that being that said, I'll turn it over to Melissa, and whether you folks have any questions or want to consider it or whatever.
Melissa, nice to see everyone. I just had some recent interest in I saw on the last ballot for listers that there were 2 vacant positions, and a part-time position was appealing to me, just supplemental to my current job now with my husband. I was previously the assistant town clerk, and I really enjoyed the land record portion of it. So I feel like the lister position kind of complements that interest for me. So that's why I approached Eric on the position. But I'm open to questions from anyone.
Any questions?
I don't have any questions, but, you know, we have had previous discussions about, you know, some long-term planning regarding the Lister's office, so, you know, maybe we need to.
Further discussions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
we'll discuss that later.
Eric has my contact information, so if anybody needs to reach out, you're more than welcome to that information.
Okay.
Kristen, take that.
I'll hand it to you for the
Okay,
appointments.
for the tree warden. So Annette Going sent an email. They had a conservation commission meeting to appoint some new members that had their terms had expired, and Elton Dunnican gave his approval to submit his name for the tree warden position. He's interested in being the tree warden. He's the only one that has approached the position. I had a few people reach out, and I gave them the information, and nobody took that anywhere. So Elton submitted his name for that position.
What does that position entail? Like, what is the tree, like, does he have a set of duties that he has to?
I believe so. So there's some state statutes on it that I could give to him. I don't remember it off the top of my head. It's
I'm just kind of curious what.
and he.
I don't think it's a very involved position.
No.
I think it's maybe more a legacy position. I don't think there's a lot that gets done with it nowadays.
No, there is some state statutes that I can give him on it, but I think it's very minimal work.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to
appoint him.
appoint Elton to the tree warden position.
I'd second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then that'll lead us into appointing the Conservation Commission, or their renewals. So I have Cindy Dunnican and Todd Marlowe are up for renewal. Cindy's agreed to serve for another 4 years. Same with, I think Todd's is the same amount. Jeff Shankovich resigned, and they'd like to submit Fenna Miller's name for approval to fulfill the remainder of Jeff's term, which ends in 2028. She's a property owner on Whitman Hill Road and a special educator at RES, and is interested in many Conservation Commission efforts.
Okay.
And then they would like to submit a name, Ruby Miller, she's a 9th grader at the high school, as another student ambassador.
She's Fenna's daughter.
And currently they have Eli Martin and Garrett Snyder as student ambassadors
Okay.
on the commission.
So do we need to make a motion for that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can we do it all at once?
I think you can do it all at once,
Yeah.
yeah, to reappoint Cindy and Todd, and then appoint Fenna Miller to carry out the remainder of Jeff's term for 2020 till 2028, and then Ruby Miller for student ambassador.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
set for that?
That is it for appointments.
Approval of the 421 meeting minutes. Motion for that?
I wasn't here, so.
I haven't looked at them, but
Do you want to set?
it's okay.
Did you look at them, Alan? Do you see anything?
I didn't.
Huh?
I didn't see
I
anything.
just didn't look at them, I'm sorry. I hate to not approve them knowing that I didn't look at them, but I feel like a lot here. Did you make the motion? To approve them?
No one's made a motion yet.
I'll give you a minute if you want.
Yeah, they look good. I'll make a motion to approve them.
A second? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. It's to you, Marissa.
Okay, so I have a few things that I'll bring up in highway just because they're a highway topic.
Okay.
But I have, so last meeting we talked about the termination to the 50 Farrar Street contract, whether or not to allow them to do the inspection of the foundation. They decided to not do the inspection and they want to terminate the contract. So in order to get the property back on the market and the town to receive the $1,000 deposit that the potential buyers put down, I need everyone on the board to sign the termination to the purchase and sales contract. And they were made aware that the $1,000 deposit that they put down was non-refundable. So once that's signed,
Does the realtor have other prospects?
she said that when it went under contract, she had a few people reach out that were interested, so she's hoping that they'll come back forward
Okay.
with any luck. And I'm hoping so too, because Jason has told me multiple times this week that he's had to go in and screw the door shut again because people are kicking it open. So. I had a meeting last week with a Michaela Floody, I think her name is. She's from the state. So every year come June, we have to renew our local emergency management plan. So I met with her to work on that because there's a new template. Andy is our EMD, or our emergency management director, being the fire chief. So he looked it over. There's a few edits to it. Before we re-adopt it, I'll get with her again, give her the updates. And then probably next meeting we'll have a motion to re-adopt that plan. That's for like if there's like say if there's a flood or a big storm that comes in, there's points of contact.
Okay.
And where to go for shelter, things like that. I think that was it. The rest of it is for under highway.
Not a lot to report for highway. The roads are being, graded, a second time, now that the frost is pretty much finally all out. They've changed some culverts. They've gone back a second time and swept a lot of the streets and the back roads, where the paved portions of back roads. As a follow-up to last meeting, it was asked about putting the speed bumps back on Green Avenue. I think we've had a lot of folks requested, or a few folks that live on North Avenue request speed bumps. So I think we're gonna start there for a little while this summer, and then move, and then maybe possibly we'll move them later. But we would like to start there to, you know, kind of see if we can't curb it there for a little while, or change the behavior on that street.
Can I just note that the highway have been really great about helping with the parks? They cleared the bank off at the playground, that was approved last year. It looks great, I think we've had a lot of compliments on it. They're helping fix some of the ball field sheds, I guess, in their spare time, and they've moved topsoil around, and they've really tidied it up, and it made it look really nice, so I wanna thank them.
I agree, thank you.
That's all I have.
That's all you have, okay.
Yeah.
So under highway, I have, Jason wanted me to ask, as far as water sewer goes, there was talk a while back that they were gonna do some water line replacements on Noyes Street. Do we know if that's still are we gonna do any of that this year, or is that on hold?
That's on hold.
That's on hold, and it's only for the purposes of paving. He's getting ready to pick his streets that need the paving. So, cause he's gotten his quotes, and we approved for Hungerford. So he didn't wanna go and have it paved just to be dug up this year.
I think we still need to do Noyes Street,
Yeah.
desperately need to do it.
So maybe he should hold off
Yeah.
anyways.
I'm
They got
just
some weak
wondering
lines
if
in there that I wouldn't pave it, honestly.
Yeah, I think it was determined at this point, it needs some engineering.
Yeah,
and so
it does need
we
engineering, but
need to, yeah.
Okay, and then another question was for the golf course road. I know that you're working on possibly starting that. Is it next year?
So, no,
This year?
so we're working on, we have one easement left to get before I think the job can go out to bid, but once we solidify that last easement, I think it's a matter of sending it out. At this point being, it's May, I'm not sure if construction would happen probably until 26.
I
Did
would
you get
guess
the
next year.
cemetery easement?
We did, so we're just waiting on one last property owner.
Cause he was wondering about that for paving as well.
I know.
So maybe we just tell him to hold, because I think he said that he had talked to you a while ago, and he said that, it's gonna be up to us to repave whatever that they have to dig up, but it's on the side,
Well, we
right?
had originally had a grant for some stone line ditching on that road as well, and we wanted to coordinate the two projects together because they are gonna be running the water line up the side of the road, so it might be best just to hold off until we have a better timeline.
Yep.
Okay.
Did we ever get a chance to follow up with the state about from the Catholic Church to the Jolly?
I think he spoke to you
So
about that as well.
I did, and I guess it's with the legislature at this point in time, and it looks like Richford would be due maybe around year 2028, and that's not definitive, so I reached back out to see if there was any help with some patchwork until we can get that, just because our paving budget is very small, and
Yeah.
those patches are gonna cost a lot of money.
Yeah, because it's not. There's probably a 100-yard stretch that really just from Linda Collins up to.
I was dealing with someone at NRPC who is the highway coordinator anyway. I gave him pictures. I had Jason take pictures, and so he was gonna see what he could find out.
Okay, because I think if we that would be great, but I think regardless we do need to
Patch it.
put some
Yeah.
love into the there, and right down by I guess Jolly Stewart's wherever there's a section there that can really use it too.
And on River Street, right, the restaurant.
Yeah.
There's a place up on Providence Street as well.
Yes, I have pictures of all those areas and was able to go.
Okay.
And then Jason also asked, so he had an incident where someone dropped off a couple of recliners at the Stump Dump, which is not what the Stump Dump is supposed to be used for. I'm still working on looking up other towns to see if they have a policy for a Stump Dump, or talking with NRPC or whoever to see if they have and VLCT to see if they have something that they can help us with. But for now, he asked if it would be possible to maybe purchase some trail cameras, at least so you can hold these people accountable.
Are we not locking the gate?
I know, I don't know, that would be maybe a,
We talked about locking it, I
Locking
thought that
it
he
too,
was
yeah.
locking it.
Yeah,
I thought he
Yeah.
was, and so you have to ask permission to go
Yeah,
there and they'll
I
let
thought
you
that's
in.
what was taking
I-
Yeah, didn't we
Yeah.
say that when they
it was
came in
supposed
about
to,
the
but I don't know if
trash?
it must have got left open because someone had brought in 2 recliners down there and dumped them down there.
If the select board can do ordinances, why can't we just make our own ordinance?
We can.
Yeah, it just involves, it's gonna be,
And it's a matter of, if you
I
have an
guess
ordinance.
labor intensive on, it. You know, it's gonna take a commitment, you know.
Well,
Because
yeah,
most
but if
people-
somebody calls, it's gonna be on our time. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we can come unlock it on
Yeah.
this time at this time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like, we
Or
don't have
it's
to
a day a
jump.
week that they leave it
Yeah.
open for the day, sorry, you can't bring anything here until Thursdays, you know,
Yeah.
from noon to 4.
Yeah.
And then, so
Yeah.
then it's not.
Yeah, it's not open all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it did get left unlocked and he just was curious if we could,
Yeah, well,
but
yeah. Well, ask him what
Is this
time.
the first time that something like that's
I
happened
don't
down
believe
there?
so, I,
No.
no, I think people
So what-
misuse
It's
it
like
all
it
the
goes
time.
well for a while and then someone takes advantage of
It's
it.
probably like the park.
It's
Yeah.
for yard
Mhm.
debris, but some
Right.
people put, you know, painted
Furniture and
items,
stuff,
household
yeah.
items in there, that's not his fault.
So do we wanna just have him work, just say lock it and work with Jason to get a dedicated, let's say 4-hour window during the week that it'll be open?
I think you need to talk to Jeremy first, because Jeremy has to get down to the sewer plant.
But he can have a key. I mean, he can lock
He
it.
must have a key.
Yeah, but I mean,
right?
as long as he can lock and unlock it, I mean, right? I mean, it's reasonable to assume that he can, if he needs to be down there, he can open and, you
As
know.
long as we make sure he's got access.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so have him work.
We'll coordinate something.
Yeah. But yeah, try to, like, you guys, is a 4-hour window good, like, and just, or ask Jason to dedicate, you know, we'll ask him for 4 and, or, you know,
Maybe it's a day a week or
Yeah.
something.
and we, just go from there, and as you're developing your plan. Okay.
Okay.
I guess I forgot to ask Jason when I talked to him this morning, how was Green Up?
Green Up was good. They got it all picked up, he said. Northwest Solid Waste dropped their tire
floor.
amount from 100 to 75. And I think he said, he told us what, he picked up like 50 to 60 tires.
He thinks we're within that window.
We're
Okay.
within that window, so
Good.
hopefully we'll have some. And I think he got rid of some to the farms too. Or he has that capability of, so then we have some more room for our
Town trash day.
town
coming up.
trash day.
Okay. Have you put out the flyer for that?
I have
Okay, good.
flyer, it's on Facebook.
Good.
We'll
Good.
reshare it too.
Yeah, I'll reshare it as it gets a little bit closer. We put it in with the trash bills.
Okay.
And that's May, just to remind everybody too, it's May 24th from 8 to noon at the town garage.
Alrighty.
And then you have a driveway permit.
Oh, yes. Have a driveway permit for Mike Keeman. Jason's already signed off on it. Says for 80 McAllister Road. So, we just make a motion, or we just sign it? We just
I
usually
think we just sign it and then we'll give it to John.
Yeah.
And then I have one more thing relating to highway. So we got the structures grant, I've talked about it before, to replace the big culvert by the border station on Province Street. We originally got a quote from East Engineering to do the work, and it turned out that he was too busy. So he gave us a contact, which was Cross Consulting, and they are willing to do it for the same price that Tyler from East Engineering quoted us for. So I just need a motion to allow them to be our engineering and consulting service on the structures grant.
This is Cross Consulting.
Cross Consulting.
I'll make a motion.
Out of St.
Cross
Albans.
Out of St. Albans, yes.
Construction will be our engineer for this border project.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And that's all that I have for highway.
Okay. Buildings, I mean, I guess, is there any discussion on what we've discussed before we move on? Buildings, Sherry's not here. I see you have approval of quotes for the library.
So did talk to her, she would like to hold off until the next meeting. She has some comments that she'd like to share with everybody, so.
Okay, so we'll move on to water and sewer.
I don't have anything else.
I have, it was a loan agreement that needs signatures for, some of the beginning work of the golf course road.
Okay.
I think
Oh, that's not me.
I think there's a place where there's a whole.
for all of them, yeah. They're all flagged though. I think that's second flag, Alan. There's another spot. This one right here. Maybe. There you go.
There's a lot of pages.
Two signatures?
Yeah,
Two
there's
places?
two places and there's 3 for Wally.
Tricky here.
Well, while we're signing that, do you wanna go, is that it for water and sewer from you?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion on that topic? Alright, we'll move into parks, playgrounds, and cemeteries.
I don't have much, just again, wanted to thank the highway department. Kylie had told me they had removed the trees and stuff, and I went over and looked at it, and it looks fantastic, and just want to acknowledge and thank Kylie for all the hard work and dedication that she puts in down there at that park, because it definitely shows that there's some love and care down there right now, so I just really appreciate that. I don't know, Kylie, if you've heard any more from Tony about the gate, or if we're kind of pausing right now. I know there was discussion about us at the last meeting saying that we kind of took that out of the budget, but if there's any more that people wanted to articulate about getting the
I'd
gate
love
down
to
there.
present on it. I was gonna try and do it when Sherry was talking
Okay.
about building.
Perfect. All right, so that's to come then. Yeah, so that's really all I have.
I did see Facebook posts benefiting our cutting. So they videotaped somebody.
Yes, that tearing up of the road.
Was there any police
So
report filed?
I called Sunday once I was made aware of the video, and I discussed it with Kylie. I talked with her too. We were in a discussion. I kept her in the loop. But so the 2 vehicles that were doing the spinning, none of them are registered. Then there's no plates, and in the video you can't see who's driving the truck. So there was a conflict with the state trooper. But when I did call the state trooper, they were switching shifts, and he informed me that they were going to be patrolling in town all night trying to find these trucks to hold somebody accountable. I never heard anything. I'm assuming that they didn't find the vehicles.
I would like to point out too, while there were so many views of this video, the reports that were coming in is some of these kids aren't even from Richford, and they have been seen doing similar things in neighboring towns. So hopefully, somebody can catch up with them. But just very small changes that are already making a big difference down there. We've been locking the playground gate. Unfortunately, it wouldn't have prevented this issue, but I think the locking it at every night has really deterred activity down there all hours of the night, and it's been really good. There hasn't been a report of vandalism until, the spinning of the driveway. But last fall, we were dealing with kids running their cars through the fence, and the town highway guys fixed all of the fences for baseball and softball and the Little League to begin, and so that was great. But everything other than that is going better down there.
Good.
And I'm still working on trying to find out about this fountain stuff. I sent 2 emails to 2 different people. They're not from the state of Vermont, just to try to get some insight, and I haven't heard anything back on the fountain, but it is definitely in need of some care.
Yeah, I've gotten comments on how bad it looks.
It does look bad. I walked up to it the other day. I was like, oh, this looks so bad. What do we
Yeah.
need to do here? So I am still in conversations with people about the fountain, just so I'm not losing sight of that. It definitely needs help.
Well, I mean, I guess Dale Gurton seemed to be involved in getting it repaired. Maybe I wonder if that company still
I
exists.
talked to Dale the other day, so and I'm gonna see him probably tomorrow, so I can follow up with Dale.
I just wonder if he has remembers he mentioned the name of the company. I wonder if that company still exists and whether they could provide us some insight.
Yeah, I can definitely touch base with Dale, because he did ask about it too the last time I saw him.
Okay. Other business?
So I think the other business we want to talk about is the parade festival. I think that's why I know I had emailed all of you kind of the notes that Artie took over there about just what our view, as far as what things are unraveling. So I know that there's probably going to be a little ask as far as money goes. From the board for some activities and things that people have on their agendas. We are having another meeting tomorrow night.
Is it
just
tomorrow or tonight?
or Thursday.
Tonight.
The 7th.
The 7th, tonight.
Yeah. So we are having that meeting just to kind of talk about how are we going to make all this work for the festival. But I do know that there will be an ask from the board, and I don't know. I know there's been money in the past for the parade. Just kind of wanting to
Put it on the radar.
put it on the radar. Yeah.
Good.
And if anybody else had anything they wanted to add around that.
Well, one thing I wanted to say is that I've been talking to some people in town about it, right? So that's kind of what I'm doing. And everybody's kind of shocked and surprised when they hear there's not going to be a parade. They want to know why. And I'm like, I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm not really, not involved in all that. Anyways, I'm just wondering if there needs to be some kind of a statement put out for the Richford residents so they understand why there's not going to be a parade. I think that they at least need to know that there's not going to be and why there's not going to be and what we're doing instead of the parade.
So can I make a suggestion after your meeting, and once you solidify what it is you're doing, we'll be more than happy to put something on our informational page about that, just.
That and on the I was gonna suggest the
Yeah.
economic
We
development
can get
page
the
as
word
well.
out, just
Yeah.
let us know what it is you all have
draft
decided
it.
to do.
Draft a press release or something.
Yeah.
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 You need to hit some of the people that don't have access to those media.
Mm-hmm.
We
Right.
could do Front Porch Forum, we could do our town informational page,
And if it's a statement, you could create a poster and we can post it
you
around
can hang it
town,
around
the
town.
grocery store,
Mhm.
Yeah, I did that last
stuff,
year for the
things like
parade.
that. So
Okay.
that way it gets out to the people who don't have social media.
Right, definitely.
Okay. Anything else? No other business? Rowena, do you have anything?
No.
John?
Yes, 2 things. First of all, my zoning administration term is up at the end of June, and I do not expect to be reappointed. I'm going to step down.
Okay.
And the second thing is, I was very disappointed in your new mowers for the banks here on the street. In my opinion, they did an awful job. First of all, they were never raked or cleaned up or nothing, and then they mowed them all with a weed whacker. And yes, I know those banks are hard to mow because I mow banks just like that all the time at my own house. But if you don't use a lawnmower, they look awful. 'Cause unless you're awful steady with a weed whacker, some places it's come right down to the ground, and next place that's high. So they looked awful the first couple of days after they had done them. And there were, young guys out there with the weed whackers. I mowed mine today, but I'm almost 80 years old, so I think young guys could mow those banks.
Do you want to pass on that concern to Mr. Tanner?
Okay.
Yeah. Just. I guess that leaves Mr. Weatherby. Do you have anything?
I have nothing at this time.
Okay. Then I see we have executive session.
I have an executive for personnel.
And is that the only issue for executive?
Yeah.
Okay, for personnel. And do we expect anything to come out of this executive? No. Alrighty, well, I'll make a motion to go to executive.
What do we do with an hour and a half?
Alright,
What they call it, hey?
do I have a motion to go to executive?
Make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Alright, Jerry, we'll let you get picked up so you don't have.